Hello. Hey, guy, everyone. Okay. All right. So just bear with us for a little bit. We are just trying to come together. I think it's waiting maybe on me. Okay. There we go.
Now, can you hear me?
Now, that's probably what was waiting.
That was the reason why. All right. I'm about to do the live on Instagram.
Okay.
And so once I'm live on Instagram, you join it.
Okay.
Let me invite you. I'm going, let's see. I'm typing your name. Invite you.
Okay.
I'm going, let's see.
Okay. I'm in.
Why is it? Oh, you requested it. Oh, my bad. Okay, hold on. Okay. I think you're in now.
Yeah, I'm coming in together. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Finally.
All right, gonna be a little bit.
You have
the echo.
Yeah, the echo.
But since I have this on, it should be fine. I hope everyone could hear me, but
yeah.
I'm going to try to tilt this like this so I can be a little bit, like a little more seen.
Okay.
Hello.
I wonder if I lower the volume. I can hear fine. What about you?
I can hear. It's a little echo, but that's coming from the
Can anyone on the live tell me if you hear the echo? Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, Frederick says I can hear the both of you.
Okay.
On YouTube live.
Hey, sister in the house. Good. Oh, okay. Yeah, she said she could hear the echo.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So this is brand new for all of us here. Okay. So guys, if it's possible for you to come on to YouTube.
Yeah, because we can't stop the YouTube one, but I could stop the Instagram one. I'm so sorry, guys, but we can't have the echo interrupting the good message that we are about to share today, right?
I know.
Oh, this is annoying. Okay, so if you guys want to continue watching the live from Instagram, hop over to YouTube at Master Tatiana. Okay, so yeah, let's switch over to the YouTube one.
Okay.
Well, yeah, let's switch. Okay, now I don't hear the echo. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's get started then.
All right, so we're gonna start off with introducing ourselves. So Audrey, you're gonna go first with introducing yourself, and then I'll go.
Yep. What's up, everyone? My name is Audrey, and I am the creator of the blog Then Came Roatan, which is basically sharing my journey with the world after moving from New York to the island of Roatan in Honduras. I moved 11 years ago, but I just started talking about my journey last year. So I have my YouTube channel. I also do digital marketing with my company, TCR Digital Marketing, and I'm the director of the Garifuna Cultural Center in Roatan, and I'm mommy and wifey too, so it's a lot going on with me.
Okay. All right. So my name is Tatiana. My name is very long, guys. It's Eliani Tatiana Bonilla Arzu. I am Garifuna. I was born in Honduras, Trujillo, Colón. And I came here very young. So, professionally, what I do now, I am a pretty much a holistic life and health coach, I will say. Yeah. So my title is brain education. So what I do, I pretty much help people restore their health, physical, emotional, and mental. So I've been doing that for some time now. So today we are coming together to pretty much talk about the benefit, the power of being rooted and discovering ourselves much more and healing in that journey. Just knowing that we know that we're Garifuna women, right? But how much of that do we know, right? What it is to be a Garifuna woman. Do we know enough to like really own our power and manifest and grow and heal, right? So in my journey, I was very stubborn, right? Very stubborn. I worked multiple jobs trying to figure out what I needed to do, but my mind was very focused. I always had like a very focused mind. And I wanted to buy a house. So that was it. I wanted to buy a house. So I was working multiple jobs to the point that I was getting sick, okay, physically sick. And, I was very fortunate to have a mom that is really good with herbs and healing, making medicine and helping women, throughout the culture. She helped many women. I used to see my house get so crowded with so many women coming in for her assistance in wound care, with the matriz and helping women bear children. So I used to assist my mom with that growing up a lot, but I used to resist it a lot. I'm like, oh my God, right? Because I wanted to be in the corporate world. I thought that I wanted my 9 to 5, my security job. I wanted that pension. I wanted to get old and, be in a wheelchair, but I had that pension. Maybe not in that way. But anyway, I ended up getting really sick, very young, almost caught a stroke.
Wow.
Not once, but twice.
Wow.
I didn't really share this with many people. I actually kept it to myself. And I think I kept it to myself because I think at least in my family, if you suffer in silence. It's like you're not supposed to tell people you are in pain. And I was known to being like the strong one, So if you are in pain, you're weak, right? So I ended up coming across this holistic facility that really embraced me. And I guess they must have saw something that I didn't clearly see. And it had a lot to do with my roots, right? So knowing that I was Garifuna, I just knew I had a powerful culture, but I didn't know to what extent that power was. And in fact, I was scared of that power because I felt that power was kind of taboo, not something to own. So I ended up healing myself by studying some natural principles, right? Some principles to really help me restore my physical health. And I thought it was just my physical body that needed care. But then I realized that I had an energy that needed to be purified too. And from there, I realized that I also had a mental state that I needed to restore. So in that journey, I realized that I had a lot of trauma. Yeah, that hush, that quiet, that even that part of me was very shh. I got there. Don't say nothing. Yep. So I realized it was a lot of trauma, a lot of things I need to heal. So through my journey of healing myself, I decided to embark in this path to pursue my understanding of thyself. And in return, I was able to discover that I'm a healer. And when I say I'm a healer, I'm not talking in the sense of like I'm here to heal you, but I help people discover their natural healing abilities. And that is what we call brain education. So yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking with it with healing. But I learned that in the Garifuna culture, we are big time healers.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that, but yeah. So I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, so like you, I knew I was Garifuna. I knew I am Garifuna. And but I never knew the power of our culture, specifically when it comes to healing,
Yeah.
until I gave birth to my third child in
Mm.
October of last year. So I live in Honduras, guys. I live in Honduras. I've been living here, but my first two children I gave birth in New York because it was taboo for me to have American children here in Honduras, a third
Mhm.
world country. People put stuff in your head. So I ran to New York to have my first two babies. Inexperienced mom. Yes, I let people's stuff, thoughts get in my head. But by the time baby number three came around, I was like, oh no, I'm not new to this. I'm not a new mom. I'm not gonna run scared to New York. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But I'm a very strategic person. So I said, you know what? If I'm going to give birth to this baby here in Honduras, I want to be in an environment that's as close to my ancestral roots as possible.
Mhm.
Because I've read about this, I'm the director of a cultural center. So I've researched this,
Wow.
but it's all been in theory. I've never seen it up close and personal, the Garifuna postpartum recovery. When
Mhm.
I had my first two children, my mom, she's Garifuna too, my dad. And so she did like little things here, little things there, but it
Mhm.
wasn't the entire experience.
Oh.
So this time around, when I gave birth to my daughter, it was in Santa Fe, which is the village where my husband is from. It's on the mainland, and his sisters took care of me. His sisters are old school.
Wow.
And so, I mean, I had my long sleeve, I had my socks, I had my pañuelo, my headscarf. The very day I came home from the hospital, they had my faja, which is the belt in English, like the what you call that?
Like the Spanx that they talk about here, they call it Spanx.
Yeah, like the Spanx. And so, because we believe in wrapping our belly binding after we give birth. I
Exactly.
mean, I had the whole experience. When I walked into my house after coming home from the hospital, I smelled all of the herbs. And I
Mhm.
get goosebumps talking about this experience because
Wow.
giving birth is a real spiritual experience. And when that baby comes out of you, like, there's something just so the spirit realm is so close to y'all, to us, the mother and the newborn. And
Mhm.
when I walked in my home, I felt like this energy. I smelled the herbs. I smelled that the house was smoked out. I had my Garifuna midwife there. I had my sister-in-laws there, and the women, right? My bed was nicely fixed, and they were just there for me. They were teaching me about the baby's belly button. They were helping my husband, telling him, what foods to cook and what food not to cook.
Okay.
I mean, the experience I had, let me just tell you, 2 weeks after giving birth, I
Mhm.
felt like I was 6 months postpartum.
Wow.
And with my first two children, I was like this. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this for like a whole 3 months. But with this baby number three, 1 month postpartum, I had lost all of my baby fat and then
Mhm.
some. Okay, I was way overweight with babies one and two. And
Mhm.
after baby number three, you usually get bigger. Nope, I got smaller. I got smaller.
Wow.
I had energy. I mean, I felt so good from the inside.
Mhm.
And like I didn't feel like so overwhelmed, and I know it had everything to do with the Garifuna postpartum
Mhm.
recovery method, and that was my first like hands-on experience. Like, this is not the books that I'm
Yeah.
practicing what I'm preaching now. And it
Mhm.
just really opened up my mind, and I got a whole another level of respect for our ancestors. Okay, so I
Yes.
feel like my body feels like 10 years younger now compared to
Mhm.
when I gave birth to baby one and two. And that has everything to do with the Garifuna postpartum recovery that I went through.
And in that healing, if you don't mind me asking, like, what did you discover about yourself from,
Boy,
like, you know, to just to be a little bit more clear, at least the difference between having your two children in the States and then having your last child in Honduras, right? Like,
mhm.
what at least did you discover about yourself?
I discovered that sleeping superpower that was within me, the healing, the healer that Garifuna people are naturally. I've never been into like nursing and stuff. I've been like corporate America. Like I wasn't the auntie changing the diapers. I was like, take your baby back. That's the type of auntie I was.
Yeah.
And so going through this really, it humbled me. It humbled me so much, and it just brought out that maternal, that healer that is within all of us.
Yes. Yes. I love how you just said that because it's so true. It's that healer within every single one of us. One thing that I discovered even in my journey of healing, of course, it wasn't like physically birthing a child, but it was, in a sense, birthing, I would say, because, like stripping parts of the identity I had held so dear and so rooted down was not easy to kind of like release, right? But one thing I discovered in even in being Garifuna and going through this healing journey, I also discovered that I had like that superpower, that I had the power to at least, overcome some challenges, because, in the States, giving birth out here in the States, I like to say that we are also like very secure with certain things. We have the hospital, we have the nurses. If anything happens, they rush you here, right? But you have Honduras where we will always make the assumption that supplies are very limited. So it's like, you're going to give birth in Honduras, how are going to take care of you, right? And then to only realize that, you gave birth here and your postpartum care was so totally, it was like day and night.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. That's something to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the power of unity, coming together also as sisters.
Oh, I get goosebumps. Yep, because I was ready to give birth at home if need be, because the Garifuna midwife, she's right here, basically our neighbors.
Okay.
And so I had everything prepared to give birth at home. And so it really made me feel comfortable, and it made giving birth feel less like, how can I say, in the US, they make it seem like it's a burden, like you're sick, like, like you have to be connected to these machines. Let me tell you something. I arrived to the hospital is 45 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
Which I had a plan B to give birth here because I wouldn't have made it on time maybe, but I made it. I arrived to the hospital like at 6:10, 6:15. My baby came out at 6:55.
Wow.
And I wasn't connected to any machines at all. Whereas in New York, I was like stuck like a needle here and all these things. And I was healthier with babies 1 and 2 than I was with baby number 3.
Wow.
Yes, I had all these machines connected to me. And even like giving birth, I was on my back the whole time, which delayed the laboring process. My baby, I gave birth within 30 minutes of arriving to the hospital.
Wow.
It was completely different. And to the point where now I'm going to take everything that I learned and apply it to my sister who is expecting.
Okay.
So I'm going to be her healer for her postpartum recovery after what I learned with me.
Yeah. That is so powerful. I love hearing this because it just makes me go back to like when my mom gave birth to my younger brother. And I remember I was in the hospital with her and the doctor told her to go for a walk in the hallway. And my mom was like, okay. My mom doesn't really speak English like that, but she like this, okay. I'm thinking she's just walking me to the elevator. This woman gets into the elevator and I'm like, Ma, the doctor, she came and hit me. She said, I gave 6 to 5 of you guys. You think I don't know how to give birth to 6? Okay, Ma. So she went home. This woman clean on her knees. She scraped right, on her knees, all fours, right?
Mhm.
And then on top of that, she cooked and she fed me. She was like, here. And I was like, I was so wicked, but she told me to eat. I was like, that's why I ate the food. But but she went ahead and she went out. She was like, all right, Tati, it's time. That's what she told me. It's time. I was like, how do you know it's time? This woman went to the hospital, gave birth to her child, called me up, and she said, he's here. I was like, what, mom? You are dope. Right? One
Wow.
thing my mom will always say is like, oh, the ancestors have me. The ancestors had me.
Mm.
And I really young, not really understanding what that meant. I was like, Ma, yeah. Good, good.
Mhm.
You made it because you're strong. That's why. Because
Yeah.
my mom's like, I'm not strong. I'm not
Mhm.
strong. I have the ancestors. I'm rooted.
Mhm.
And
That's true.
so thanks to that, I came up with this quote one time and I was like, I'm not strong. I'm just rooted.
Oh, I love that. Let me fix this.
Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true.
Right? Especially as being, women of color, being colored, period. We always are the ones that are labeled as, oh, you're strong. You're strong. And the truth is, no, I'm not.
No, we're
Not
not.
all the time I'm strong. Sometimes I want you to pick up that bag. I want you to lift that chair. I want you to open that door for me.
Okay.
So, from there, I was like, no, I was overworking myself too. And that would make me feel even worse because I was playing this role of like this image of being strong.
Mm-hmm.
You're strong. You're strong. And so I would hear again, at Garifuna, you're strong. You're strong. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're not. We weak too. We tired. We want a break. But I get it. I get from the sense of like, we are rooted. When my mom said, the ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
what she was saying is like, we are rooted. And
Mm-hmm.
because we are rooted, people don't know how to translate that. The only way that they see that is you're strong,
Mm-hmm.
and we take that on. And then that's why when we're in the hospitals, we wait longer,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Even in this book that I have right here, this book is a powerhouse right here.
What is that? Birthing? Birthing?
Yes, Birthing Justice. This book is so good. She talks about how in the hospitals, we are waited longer, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
only for women, for men too. Like if once they know that you're black, it's the program in our brains
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, all right, she could wait a little bit longer, like 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, and then we end up building. We start making up these illusions, right?
Mm-hmm.
In our brains, like I was just going through this. I was no, you were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be taken care of like this,
Exactly.
you know. So usually, that's why I started to embody that. But I realized that to have society change that, we be doing this forever, right? Because it's so embedded
Mm-hmm.
in our brains. So
Mm-hmm.
it was important for me, right, to do that discovery, to do that work, that
Mm-hmm.
cleaning, that cleaning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what I ended up doing was that I had a moment with my ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
I had a moment. Now you know where I was inspired by. I was inspired by the Black Panther movie.
Oh yes.
Right? When you see our beloved Chad,
Yeah.
there's a part when he meets with the ancestors and he's like yelling at the ancestors.
Ooh, I remember that part. It did make me think of our ancestors too.
Yes. And it
Mm-hmm.
was so funny because I was like, we could yell at ancestors. We could yell at them. Oh my God. So I ended up having like a meeting. I ended up doing like a training to like
Mm-hmm.
really like tackle some things that messed us up.
Mm-hmm.
Really messed us
Mm-hmm.
up. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all messed us up. And because of that, we all stuck. And we
Yeah.
all think that we're doing so amazing, but we're so stuck in so many things that we don't even
Mm-hmm.
realize that we have forgotten to unite together in healing, not only in passing, not only
Mm-hmm.
in celebration, but also in
Mm-hmm.
such a powerful ceremony of birthing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a
Mhm.
birth. I think that that's
Absolutely.
something that's important that we need to come together
That
as.
is so,
Yeah.
that is so true. There's some comments.
Yeah.
I want to let's see. Um, Frederick O'Heath from Bayside, Queens. Feline Cayetano Butigunyon from Belize.
Yes.
Frederick asked to Audrey, how was your diet when you had your first two kids compared to your third being here in the US? Frederick, I gave birth to my third child in Honduras, just to clarify. The first two I gave birth in the US. But my diet, oh man, my diet when I gave birth to my first two children, in retrospect, I basically continued eating how I was eating
Hmm.
like my regular food. So I was never really big with soda anyway, but I was drinking, juice and water with babies one and two. Compared to baby number three, I was only drinking water and not cold water either.
Okay.
Not cold water, water and
Mm.
tea. Water and tea. That's it. Water and tea, morning, noon, and night. And it wasn't no sweet tea either. It was like bitter herbs to clean my
Mhm.
system out. So when it comes to drinking, that's the difference. When it comes to eating with babies one and two in New York, I was ordering outside food, Chinese food. I think it was maybe the first
Wow.
4 or 5 days that where my mom, she helped me cook, and she would steam rice, and
Okay.
but after that I went back to my regular junk food American, diet. But with baby number three, it was no fried food. It was no, if I had rice, it was like barely any rice. It was mostly my vegetables. It was mostly soup, especially the first 2 weeks. I
Mhm.
basically had soup. No, no flour. Like we like to eat a lot of flour tortillas.
Mhm.
So with number three, it was like if I had a tortilla, it was a corn tortilla. I couldn't eat any dairy.
Mhm.
No dairy, no cold drinks. Basically, just soups and really light food.
Another question I have, like, how was your resting? Like, were you able to rest well? How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, with baby number three, I was like a queen for the first 2 weeks. But this is why they say it takes a village. How you think our ancestors had 5 or 6 children? They
Right.
were not up on their feet 2 or 3 days after giving birth. Like
Mm.
even when I was just sitting up, my sister-in-law, she would be like, "Cuñada, cuñada, acostate, será tus piernas."
Yeah.
She'd be like, close your legs, sit down. She was just like, just sit down. You can't do anything.
Mhm.
You can't do anything. And I'm always a person on the go. I'm not used to that type of care,
Yeah.
And so, but I forced myself to, like, the first 2 weeks, I was basically on bed rest.
Mhm.
I didn't do anything. I was just on bed rest.
Wow. And how was your bonding with the baby and
I
the,
was
the siblings?
so wonderful. It was, I mean, I had all the time in the world to bond with my baby
Mhm.
and teach her siblings how to bond with her, safely, because my son, the boy, he was like poking her foot and like pulling her hand. So
Mhm.
I was able to sit down and teach them how you interact with a newborn. So it was a wonderful bonding experience.
Wow. So with this experience, did your like identity change? Like, did you find yourself to be more in alignment with your roots?
Definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. I mean, it's like I said, I've been talking about this. I'm the director of a cultural center,
Yeah.
but I feel like after going through this experience, the next time we have guests and it's time to
Mhm.
talk about Garifuna spirituality or healing, like I'm going off. Like we're gonna talk about it. And I feel even greater, not because of just the great experience that I have, but about what I learned and what I can teach, even if you're not Garifuna, because that
Mhm.
healing, that postpartum recovery is deeply rooted with our African roots. So
Yeah.
as a Black person, we all have that, but the difference is that because Garifuna people are able to pinpoint their village, their culture, their roots,
Yes.
we are able to more closely mimic that African healing stuff, but we're not the only ones. Every Black person has that.
Yeah.
So we know as Garifuna people, we need to understand we are blessed to be able to pinpoint these things, because other Black people, they can't do that. So our responsibility, I feel, as Garifuna people, is to teach the Black people in general what we know, because it's all part of our culture.
Exactly. And you know, one thing I really love from just growing up among us, I realized that one thing that we did so well was like share. We share, you know, and I think that that's something that we need to do more within our Black and brown community, that we share more about this wisdom, that we come together. Okay. So Nisi Chase is asking, let me see, I can't see. She said, I want to hear more about the Garifuna culture. What does it mean to be Garifuna? Okay. All right. So do you want to share about that? You want to
I'll share about it, Nancy. So Garifuna people, we're a mix of Africans and Arawak Indians from the island of St. Vincent. So our culture is a mix, right? So the Arawak Indians were already on the island of St. Vincent for many years and years. They had their own, village communities. And the African people, before the slave trade, were already going to the western side of the world, right? So little by little, these Africans started going to the west side and mixing. Basically, after so much Africans mixing with the Indians, or with the Indians on St. Vincent, it gave birth to a whole new people, which is what we call ourselves, the Garifuna people, or the British labeled us as Black Caribs. Now, this fusion of people, it was a fusion of cultures as well, which is why I'm explaining to Tatiana that, our cultures and stuff, especially when it comes to healing and spirituality, is very similar to anybody with Black roots. It's just that since we as Garifuna people were able to keep our culture for over 200 years, we have the information closer to us. So basically what happened is the British colonized St. Vincent, and they kicked out the Garifuna people and shipped them over to the island of Roatan, which is in Honduras. So they shipped them to Honduras, and from there the Garifuna people continued to spread. So they spread to the mainland of Honduras and created Garifuna communities all throughout the mainland of Honduras. Then from there they went to Guatemala, to Belize, and to Nicaragua. So present day, there are Garifuna people in Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and Nicaragua, but the largest population is in Honduras. So what it means to be Garifuna people is to basically a descendant from that fusion of the African and Arawak Indian culture that mixed in St. Vincent. We are the survivors from those people.
Yes. I love that. I always love to hear it, and just like it's like story time for me. I always get so excited.
And Nisi, I'm gonna put a link in the comment. I actually made a video about who are Garifuna people on my YouTube channel. So if you wanna, find out more information, you could go see that video. I'm gonna put a link in the comment. If you wanna, find out more information, you could go see that video. I'm gonna put a link in the comment.
Okay.
If you want to, find out more information, you can go see that video. I'm gonna.
You got it?
Comment.
Okay.
Hearing an echo.
Yeah, I hear echo.
You want to find out more information, you can go see that video. I'm gonna.
You got it?
Comment. I'm hearing an echo. Weird.
Yeah, I hear echo.
You want to find out more information, you can go see that video. I'm gonna.
You got it?
Like repeating.
Okay. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay,
Fine.
There was a tab I had. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
There was a tab I had. I was going to look for your video to link it, but you got it. You have the link.
I'm getting it now. I'm gonna get the link now.
Yeah. I think for me being Garifuna, beyond the things that people have told me what it is to be Garifuna. I think, when I think of Garifuna, I think about, my essence. I think about just that being of life, that explorer, that natural healer. When I think about being Garifuna, I think about more than just strength. I think about roots.
Mm.
That's what I think about. I think about roots. I think about
Yes.
nature.
Yes.
I think about the ways and the techniques that we have used that had led us to where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about Garifuna. So it's such an honor to be Garifuna, to
Mm-hmm.
carry Garifuna blood inside of me, in and out,
Yes. Yes.
to have my parents, as Garifunas, and for my parents to also be rooted also.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're so right. I just put the link to the video in the private chat, Tati, because I can't put it in the
Okay,
comments.
put in the private chat.
Yeah, maybe you could put it in the
Oh,
comments.
yep, yep. I'm gonna open it up right now. I'm gonna share it right now.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So, I wanted to talk a little bit also about purpose.
Yes.
Because we have this mind that we have to go looking for purpose, but I want to talk about, you know, root being rooted, understanding our culture and what it is to hold purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Keep in mind, I'm not saying go searching for purpose, but I'm saying to hold purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
I like to hear from you, how you think that this led you to the things that you're doing now relating to purpose.
Um, I I was when I moved to Honduras. If someone would have told me 10 years ago that I would have been doing what I'm doing now, I would have looked at them like they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And in retrospect, I appreciate, or I don't know, I'm proud of myself for just living, because I feel like when you, and it's not that I overthink sometimes, but when I moved to Honduras, it was just for me to find a manager for our family business, a bar and restaurant at the time, and go back to New York. I was young, single, no kids, so I just took that leap of faith and I was just living. But I had no idea that God was leading me into what I'm supposed to be doing right now. To me, it was just, I was just having fun every weekend. It was like turn up, turn up, turn up. You know, I was a bartender on the beach in Roatan at the age of 24. So what else am I supposed to do? You know? And I realized that that was God's bait. That was his bait. The God and my ancestors, that was their bait to keep me there, because they knew that I needed to be brought into my purpose. And we're stubborn as human beings. So if they would have just came, if someone would have just said, okay, Audrey, you're gonna teach about the Garifuna culture, you're gonna, help your community, I would have been like, pass me the throne. That would have been my answer. So that life, that party, that drink, and that was the bait. And so I appreciate that I just let life, flow. And in that, everything just was connecting. I started meeting people asking about the culture. I started meeting people who wanted to bring donations to my community. And slowly but surely, I became like this humanitarian, this cultural ambassador. We even
Wow.
changed the direction of the business from a bar and a restaurant to a cultural center. And now, fast forward to 10 years later, like, people, I am the culture, the Garifuna Cultural Center. We're like the go-to place for anyone who wants to learn more about the Garifuna culture in Roatan. And it's not because of me, it's because of them. Because if it was for me, I would have been turn up, turn up, turn up. That. So you just gotta let God and the ancestors guide you in life. And it's not like you said, it's not about like finding your purpose. It's just live your life and pay attention to the signs that they send you, and just keep walking in faith.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. For me, it was the same way too. Like if you, like you would ask me 10 years ago that I will be doing this, I'm like, no, mm-mm. I'm gonna be in the city. You know, everyone will talk about being in working for the city. You set
Mhm.
life. You don't have to worry about nada. So that was my future. I said, you know, I'm gonna be an administrator, stapling papers.
Yes.
You know, that was like my mind to think
Yeah.
about that I would be now placing my hands on people and like helping people, not like placing my hand and healing people, but like actually touching people and touching, you know, like in different ways. I'm like, wait, no, no.
Mhm.
Especially like, you know, with me growing up, you know, I had a lot of I would say academic challenge, right?
Mhm.
With learning
Mhm.
disabilities, you know.
Mhm.
I was placed in the special ed system. Okay.
Wow.
I had problems with reading. I still have problems with reading every now and then.
Mhm.
Right. I had, you name it, I had it. They placed me in special ed. I was like, I'm too good for this. Why they put me in special ed? Let's just
Wow.
say life humbled the life out of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Life humbled me because when I went to the special ed system is when I discovered that, you know, those people that were there were actually unique and that they all had a gift that the world just didn't know how to handle.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
The world did not know how to handle. And I think it needed to build me up. It needed to mold me. That experience needed to mold me because now I work with people that have children that have disabilities,
Mhm.
and they come to me and they like, oh well, my child, you know, she has all these issues. And I said, what issues? And they're like, yeah, yeah, my child have this. I said, what issues? Do your child know that they have an issue, or do you know that your child has an issue? Or at least did the world tell you that your child have an issue? And I'm able to be an advocate now for those
Mhm.
kids that are,
Wow. God bless you.
yes, that are told you're dumb, you're stupid, you're
Mhm.
retarded. They use all these
Mhm.
words. Now I am their voice, and make it my business to be able to redirect the minds of the parents that
Mhm.
are thinking that something is wrong with their children. And I'm like, not with me. We're gonna stop that because
Mhm.
you're gonna raise this child to have so much limitations, so much
Yes.
limitations, you know. But I really wanted to mind my own business. I really, you know, my mind over 10 years ago, it was all about
Mhm.
mind my business. It was all about me, me, me.
Mhm.
And because I was placed in the special ed system, I was given so many limitations and so many things. I couldn't stay still. My energy was out of this roof. You
Mhm.
couldn't sit me down for 1 minute, and
Wow.
everyone just assumed something's wrong with her. And I started to eventually own up to that.
That
Yeah.
is when that's so powerful, man. That is so powerful. We don't realize the words or the way we act with our children when they're small, they begin to embody that.
Mhm.
So if you're telling your child, you're so dumb, you're dumb, then when they're 16, 18, they're going to be like, I'm dumb. I'm too dumb to apply for this job. I'm
Yeah.
too dumb to approach this girl. I'm too dumb for this, and without those words verbally coming out,
Yeah.
that's what they're thinking. So we really have to be careful what we say to our children.
Exactly. Exactly. Because you know what causes a lot of the hurt and the need to do healing is that, you know, is that child
Mhm.
that didn't receive that love enough
Mhm.
to be able to blossom into the human that they are really meant to be. You
Mhm.
know? And it's not to say that we don't need some of these experiences, right? Because clearly I needed these experiences for me to be able to be the voice now, you
Yeah.
know? And that's why I say don't search for purpose. Don't
Mhm.
search because life is already bringing you together to that, you know?
Exactly.
And sometimes we have this idea the more you search, the more farther you go to your purpose
Mhm.
than being in your purpose.
Mhm.
So that's why usually I tell people that your purpose is not for you to search, but you
Mhm.
to accept and remember that you have it. You may not understand it. It may be getting on your nerves because you're like, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a police officer.
Oh my gosh.
I cried. I was devastated. I wanted to be a police officer with all my might. I was so mad with the higher power. I was
Yeah.
so angry. Like I still remember my cousin trying to, tell me, but God got you. I was like, leave me alone. I don't know this. Because I trained. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning running. I was training. I was doing so many things, and it was just a lot. There's a question here. Let me see. What about your accomplishments? Nisi's asking, what about our accomplishments? Oh yeah, definitely. I love the fact that you guys are asking questions because you guys are right.
Now,
Even though I was in the special ed system, I made it out of high school. I graduated out of high school with a regular diploma. I went to get my bachelor's degree. Okay. So I thought I was only going to step foot a little bit and probably end up quitting, but I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in criminology and a minor in law. So I study human behavior, sociology, the criminal mind, literally. So that was a major accomplishment. And then I got to work in the corporate field. I worked as an investigator for abused children, right? That was my passion. I was going in there like ready to defend. And then I also worked in a detention home with the kids serving their time. I was known as Mother Teresa with a stick because I loved them, but I was also very strict. So all that experience led me to doing more development, self-development, and personal development, self-discovery work that helped me to release a lot of the trauma I had. And I no longer wanted to entertain the trauma. Now I want to be a part of the solution to this trauma.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen. So I became a brain education practitioner, and it has been the most rewarding experience thus far.
That's cool. For me, Nisi asked, now that you understand your rootedness, what do you feel you have accomplished? Nisi, this is I could say in two parts. I feel that I've accomplished being very clear about a major purpose in my life, and that is I call myself the liaison, the person that's going to help to combine the new generation of Garifuna people to the older generation, and the Garifuna people who want to reconnect with their roots. Garifuna people who are in the US or outside of our countries, and they want to connect, but they don't know how. I feel like I have, like God put me in this position to be able to communicate to both sides, and that's what's going to help us to preserve our Garifuna culture, because we have this huge disconnect, because I mean, how many people got time to just up and leave their lives in the US and just come and live in Honduras? It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful place and everything. But now that we're grown and we're adults, we understand everyone has responsibilities. So I feel like me being able to be here in Honduras and still connected in the US is not just, look at me drinking this margarita on the beach. It's not for me to show off. It's for me to use that to help other people. And so that's one of the things that I feel like I'm doing. And also being able to be rooted with my ancestors, with spirituality, has helped me to heal from my inner and from my traumas from the past, and it helped me to become more centered. And when you become more centered, it helps you to balance your life more, and you're able to be a better everything. I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, I'm a better entrepreneur, because my mind, my soul, and my body have become one, because I've been able to tap into that superpower that we all have inside of us.
Yes.
That's my sister Nor. Hey ladies, I'm enjoying the live. Y'all speak
Yes. So guys, even if you don't really understand about ancestry work so vividly, so clearly, just know that this is the platform that we're trying to create, that we could come together and kind of share our experience as Garifunas, right? To share what is our level of understanding of ancestry work.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of ancestry work, I relate it to nature. Yeah,
Yes.
I
Yes.
relate to nature. It's more than just having an image of um, our loved ones that transcended, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's more than that. At the end of the day, our bodies become the ashes, become the soil, become
Mm-hmm.
the tree, become the roots, become the
Mm-hmm.
air, the trees, the sun, everything. So we inhale everything. We become one, literally.
Yes.
That's what it is, and it's just respecting earth. For me, that's what ancestry work is.
Mm-hmm.
Respecting the land that we're standing on, knowing that we are standing on giants
Mm-hmm.
go before us, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So many of us believe that we are the ones creating and starting this change, but this change started way before even our existence came.
Yep. Yep. That is so true. That
Yeah.
is so true.
So
Jamie Arzu says, I love the energy. We need more collaborations to bring Garinagus together.
I agree.
100% true, brother. That is so true.
Yes.
In unity, there is strength. So, yeah.
Power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I think of the Garifuna people, I think about, I know some people may not like this one, but I think of ants.
And, okay. A
Because
lot of
ants, although you may, yes, they come together, they may look so
that's
little and so fragile and weak, but when they come together, they create chains that are
okay.
unbreakable. And when I
Okay.
think about Garinagus, Garifuna people, Garifuna men, women, children, elders, that's what I think. I just feel this overwhelming energy. If anything, it's like being shaken out in the world. And even if I don't speak Garifuna, right? And I'm not saying that with pride because I wish I did, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but even though I can't speak it, I can feel the energy when it's
Ooh.
spoken. If I'm on the bus, if I'm on the
Yes.
train,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm just like, yes, I hear you. I don't
Yes.
understand, but I hear you.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Nisi Chase, she asked, what are you now able to understand from your Garifuna predecessors? That's a good
Mm,
question.
mm,
That's a good question. I want to answer one. Well, what tongue tied. I want to answer. I got a couple of because growing up in New York. Let me fix my camera. Growing up in New York,
mm-hmm,
being born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, as a first generation American, like I didn't understand why my parents would do certain things that they did.
mm,
Hold on. This is like okay, and so one of the things I understand about my predecessors now are why they would honor our ancestors so much. Because when I started getting into religion, I grew up Catholic, but I'm open-minded. So I've looked into every type of culture, and a lot of cultures would look at us like, yeah, why do you honor your ancestors so
mm-hmm,
much? And so after living here for almost 10 years and actually participating in spiritual ceremonies, Garifuna ceremonies,
mm-hmm,
I understand the respect that we have to honor our ancestors for. Like they did the damn thing. I mean,
mm-hmm.
just the postpartum recovery, for them to know about all of these herbs and just walk down the road and say, oh, this plant is for this, that plant is for that. That deserves some type of respect. That deserves some type of respect. And so I understand, yeah, now why we honor them so much. They're like one of our angels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way too. I used to also not have much respect because of, I won't say not have much respect in the sense that I disliked my, like, the things that I saw growing up. But I think
Mhm.
I didn't really understand it because it really wasn't hmm. I guess I was supposed to just figure it out. Like honestly,
I
I
mean,
don't.
that's how our parents make us feel, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, I had to get over being upset with my parents for not teaching us,
Mhm.
because they did expect for us to just get it, or sometimes for us to just forget it, because
Yeah.
that's why they brought us to the U.S., right? Well, that's why
Mhm.
they gave birth to us in the U.S. Like, forget about being Garifuna. I'm giving you a better life. So there's nothing to understand about being Garifuna.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we here
Trying to
trying to
figure
take
it
it back.
out. Yeah, he's taking back our power. That's how I feel like our generation is trying to take back our power and being Garifuna.
Exactly. And I think what helps too is the motivation from other people too. Because I think like even when I speak to people and I say, "Oh yeah, my family's from this and they are Garifunas," people will usually stop me like, "Do you know what that is?" Like they wish that they were also Garifuna too, and
Yes.
they angry because I'm not owning up to it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I go back home, I'm like, "Ma, the world's hating me because I don't know myself."
Yup. Yup. Because I mean, think about it. So many people of color. Garifuna people are like this much compared to the rest of the black population in the world.
Mm.
That's a lot of people who don't know where they come from originally. So it's a blessing to be able to trace back your roots all the way to
Privilege.
the where your ancestors came from.
Yeah. you know it's just as bad. There was one time this guy that he's handicapped, he has no legs, no hands, and
Mhm.
he said, am I the one that's handicapped, or is it you the one that's handicapped? You have your hands, you have your legs, and you still don't know who you are. Right. So
Wow, he told you.
he told me, like, so my thing is like, I was like, wow, when he said that in the stage, I was just like, mommy.
Wow, wow,
Mommy.
wow.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay. The way we honor our ancestors is the way let me see. I can see. Could you see the one I'm trying
Mhm.
to?
It says the way we honor Feline Cayetano said the way we honor our ancestors is the way we would want to be honored when we have transcend
Yes.
this side of like that. That's so true. That's
Yes.
that respect that we're talking about. Like, you got, yeah, you're so right. Yep. They were people just like us, you
Yeah.
know. Papa Mina.
Yeah.
Jamie R. said yes. Every time I would ask, I was told that's grown folk business. Jamie, every time I ask, they will start talking Garifuna because I didn't understand.
Yes.
So right. My sister
Yes.
Nora, I agree. Our parents assume life would be better for us if we chase the American dream. Our ancestors have been leading us back to roots. Yup, that is so true.
That was
Babe, can you pass me a mirror, please?
deep. That is so true.
That is so true.
I think in some way too. That's why sometimes our ancestors kind of ask for like for us to do ceremonies, right? Some spiritual ceremony, like the good, right? And sometimes we thinking our parents probably thinking, oh, they wanted the good for the children. No, they wanted the good for them.
Yeah.
Like they wanted the good for them. They trying to tell our parents, listen, you guys, we send you to America to make way for us to get through, to continue our roots, not for you guys to assist in the forgetting.
Yep, that is so true. That is so true.
It's so so true. But I'm with Jamie with that one too. Just having us to like forget, or tell us to mind our business.
Lucy says, I love that. There's nothing to understand about me giving you a better life. Unfortunately, that still transcends in today's culture. You so right,
Yeah.
Nisi, because this baby, she only 3 months old. And a lot of people tell me I was crazy. I'm still crazy for raising my children here in Honduras. Why don't you take them back to America? That's a third world country. You so right. You are so right. But my baby is fine. Look at her. She's so chunky.
She's adorable. Look, she said hi to us. She was like, yes, guys. Oh my God, we are loving the questions. I really appreciate that. Y'all help the flow. The dialogues. But yeah, we want to definitely continue this type of conversations among our fellow, Garifunas, not only ourselves. The beauty of this platform is that we can always invite other people in it too. So it could be as much as 4 or 5 people coming together here. And so our goal is to, Audrey and myself want to be, the so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Someone didn't get the memo. Don't call me at the time. But they're like, but yeah, guys. So thank you so much. At least for me, I'm very appreciative. I learn a lot, even in this sharing right now. Give me a second. I don't know. Maybe I have a little bit of a something that they want me to partake. And they probably like, hurry up and join now. But yeah, I'm just concluding now. So we are going to definitely continue this. So I'm going to speak with Audrey, I guess, off camera. And we're going to talk about when we want to continue this more often. And if you feel like that there's something that we should address and talk about on this platform, please don't hesitate to comment, leave that for us. Say, hey, let's talk about this. I want to know more about spirituality. I want to know more about ancestry. I want to know about the good. I want to know about Fedus. I want to know about why we dance this way. Right? Audrey, you want to say anything?
No, that's pretty much it. Let's keep this line of communication open. It's not just about the Garifuna culture. Like I said, being Garifuna to me is a blessing, and that we should use to bless other people who want to reconnect with their culture. So let's invite other people on. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So you're already on Tatiana's YouTube channel, Master Tatiana. And my YouTube channel is Then Came Vratan. So yeah, let's keep this energy flowing. I love it.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, baby.
One more comment from me. I wish I could bring my girls back home. What do you recommend for those of us still skeptical about visiting Honduras? I suggest Nisi planning a trip that's like 3 to 4 weeks. Call it a discovery trip. Even though you are from Honduras, if you haven't lived here, it's really hard to understand how certain things work. So plan a trip to Honduras where you're not being a tourist, where you're like following someone to know how to pay a bill, or following the students to their school to see how school life is. Shadow somebody who lives here and really learn what it means to live here in Honduras again. I wouldn't say disconnect completely from your American life, because it's a hard transition. I myself personally will not disconnect from the US, because I want to give my children the option when they're older to either live in Honduras or live in the US or anywhere else in the world. And in order to do that, you have to expose them to both ways of life. So with children, I wouldn't say X them out from Honduras or from US. Expose them and let them decide in the future where they want to be.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like even when it comes to that, I think now, instead of feeling like, oh, I have to head out to like Honduras or anything like that at this time where we have a pandemic, we can definitely take advantage of like the books. Right now there are books out there that we could educate our children about the roots that we carrying. They could be much informed. And I think when things get more stable, then we can safely plan a trip to go back home.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's it. I guess it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Bye, everyone.
Say bye, Amina. Both of my
Bye.
girls.
Bye.